Ladies and gentlemen, today on Poland Daily History, we will explore in depth the history of the szabla, or the Polish saber. This is the weapon that is immortalized by the Polish wing hussars that spread fear throughout European history, and it was used to save Christianity in the famous Battle of Vienna. Today, we will talk to the expert, Marcin Bach, an instructor of fencing and historical fencing. And later on in the program, he will teach us a few moves. Back in the medieval era, the Polish kids are familiarized with the art of fencing from a very young age. And I was wondering if you can elaborate on how they get used to fencing, how they learn the techniques and such.
Tak naprawdę wiek, w którym młody szlachcic...
Young Polish noblemen would begin their fencing training when they were around 7 years old. It was at this age that boys from the nobility would leave the care of their mothers and enter the path leading them to becoming men.
Znało się jego szkolenie na mężczyznę. Nauka obejmowała...
Fencing training was mainly meant for the aristocracy, but also for lower classes noblemen, richer farmers, and for members of the middle class living in the cities. All of them had to know how to fight. Apart from fencing, they also learned how to swim and, first and foremost, how to ride a horse. A couple of hundred years ago, practically everyone in Poland knew how to ride a horse. You could say that only the disabled and newborns didn't have that skill.
Czyli walka wręcz bez broni. Po polsku kiedyś nazywano to chodzenie za pasy.
What is more, Polish noblemen also trained in wrestling or fist fighting. Apart from traditional fencing, they were also taught how to fight with different types of weapons, such as the spear, warhammer, or nadziak in Polish, with a dagger and a bow.
Królową broni była szabla.
However, the most famous and weapon of choice for Poles would be the saber. For this type of training, fencing teachers used a saber like this. The so-called palcat was a wooden saber with a metal handle, which allowed for safe fencing practice.
To jest współczesny palcat. On ma rękojeść wykonaną z metalu, osłonę rękojeści wykonaną z metalu.
Sometimes the handle, which also protected the wielder's hand, was made out of hardened leather or wicker. The most basic version of this type of training weapon didn't even have a handle like this, but was simply a piece of carved wood, more or less the length of a saber.
Wycięty z drzewa, bez żadnych sęków, bez żadnych zacięć. I tym...
With this, a 7-year-old Polish nobleman would train at least an hour a day. Of course, training was still quite dangerous, since fencing masks were not yet known back in those days.
Była dosyć, ta nauka była dosyć niebezpieczna, dlatego że nie znano i nie używano w ogóle masek szermierczych.
So is there any names during the time that are very wide known? Like if you were a nobleman back in the time, you have a little bit of money in your hands and you want to make sure that your children get the best training in terms of fencing. Who would you go to?
Tak, oczywiście byli tacy mistrzowie. Właściwie w każdej wsi, w każdym majątku ziemskim.
There were many masters of the art of fencing. Every village and estate had at least one fencing master who was not only thought to be a great swordsman, but also a good teacher. In poor villages, this role would most often be played by some famous local warrior, but the magnates, barons, and other noblemen would often hire professional fencing teachers to train their sons.
Nauczycieli, którzy uchodzili za dobrych wojowników i dobrych nauczycieli, płacili im pieniądze za nauczanie swoich synów. Na dworach...
The Polish royal family also hired fencing masters who taught the young princes and members of the royal family Western techniques, so not only fighting with a saber, but also with a prickly weapon, in other words, a rapier or an épée. Polish fencing was very unique, since it combined both Western and Eastern techniques.
I z zachodu. I polska szlachta, polscy wojownicy mogli porównać system walki azjatycki, wschodni, z tym systemem zachodnim.
Polish fencers took the best out of these two styles and made it into their own. One of the most famous Polish fencing masters was King Jan Sobieski III, who had very good teachers in both saber and rapier fighting. Not a lot of people know this, but during his travels across Western Europe, Sobieski was even a musketeer, serving in the court of the French king for a year. He served in the French king's guard of honor, which may be difficult to imagine. A Polish nobleman without his saber and traditional outfit, wearing the robes of a musketeer and with a rapier by his side.
Szabli, bez kontusza, tylko w stroju takim muszkieterskim z rapierem przy boku. Dobrze, Ben, trochę porozmawialiśmy o tym, jak to było z szablami kiedyś.
We have already talked a bit about the history of fencing, but now I will show you how it was actually done.
Pokażę ci, jak kiedyś tym władano. Przyjmij teraz...
Please assume the fencing stance, and now you will try to attack with a cut using the French mill maneuver and try to land it on my helmet.
Na moją głowę.
I will stand right next to you and show you how it's done. We will do it using the inner French mill, so first you let the tip of your weapon drop, and then...
Hop! Do przodu, tak jest. Staraj się...
Try not to move your torso while doing it, just keep it upright and let your arm do the work. There you go, and keep your feet still too, just your arm.
Tylko hop, hop. Dobrze, jeszcze raz, tak. I luźna ręka.
And now try to hit my helmet.
Spróbuj to zrobić teraz, trafiając w moją maskę. Ben, pozycja.
Assume the position and then try to hit me on my helmet.
W moją głowę. Hop. No, wal. Młyniec i w głowę. Mocniej.
Harder, that's what the helmet is for. Not bad, but try not to lean forward with your torso. Just use your arm. None of these movements.
Nieźle, ale
Okay, good. Just watch out for these movements. And now we will do the same, but using the outer French mill.
Tego nie robimy.
Good. Loosely with the wrist.
Bywa i tak, tak?
Well, you've got to watch out for that. Therefore, apart from swinging the weapon, your footwork is also very important, because your attacks will be useless if your opponent evades them.
Drugie cięcie, jakie ci
The second move I will show you is a cut directed to your opponent's torso, and here you will move like this and strike sideways, like this.
w ten sposób. Tak i tak. O właśnie, tutaj. I tu.
You are supposed to cut me here, but while doing you need to keep your arm straight.
Tak? Trafiamy.
Now bend your arm just a little bit.
Do a small relax.
Not all the way like this. Go ahead, give it a try.
Hop.
And now try to strike while I'm parrying.
Really? Slowly. Hop. Yes. Hop. Yes. Hop. Yes. Hop. Yes. Hop.
There you go. And now we will try a different exercise. If you see that the tip of my sword is kept low, then you use a French mill to strike me on the helmet. If you see me keeping my sword by my side, then you try to cut me in the torso. Just make sure that you don't lean in.
Good. Good.
Okay, and that's it. We are done for today.
Today we have explored the history and the usage of the Polish szabla that is iconic to Poland history and have been with Poland throughout years of war. And that's it for today. I'll see you next time on Poland Daily.